Amai Tappa. It's a Telugu movie. Nitya Menon is the heroine. So I directed that. I've written Kannada movies and I've also worked for Tamil movies. So for the past 20 plus years, I'm into films. I got operated with a small accident. I was advised to take rest. I'm a big fan of Rajiv ji, so I came here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Have you considered, have you done writing in English for an English film?
Not exactly, but I've written in English because nowadays people are asking synopsis to be written in English. So we are giving in English.
I'd like to exchange contact details because we have interesting projects.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rajiv Malhotra. I'm a screenwriter, also a green developer focused on sustainability and environmental friendly.
In the Supreme Court to bring a law, a nationwide law against conversions. So that's what I'm working towards. And I also work on the grassroots.
Sir Rajiv Malhotra ji, I am Atreya Sharma, Chief Editor of Muse India, and I haven't read any book of yours, but my son who had his PhD in States, he introduced you to me, and so that's why I'm here. And tomorrow in the Pragna Bharati meeting also I am going to be there. I am one of the Pragna Bharati activists. Thank you.
So we should, as people come, we should, that couple more, we should ask them to introduce themselves also. No, they're part of the organization, I guess. So this is there was no topic given or format, and we were just told that there are filmmakers and people in the media who want to meet you. So wonderful reception. Thank you for warm welcome to Hyderabad. The films have a lot to do about the transmission of values and ideas. And fiction can also, done properly, is such that most people think that they're learning the facts. For instance, the movie Gone with the Wind, about the Deep South and what happened in the Deep South Civil War. It's a fiction, and it was made as fiction. But when they asked last two generations of educated Americans, what they know about the Civil War, almost everything they knew was based on what they saw in Gone with the Wind. It's really so. So that's the power of fiction. Historical fiction kind of a thing. You can also have philosophical fiction. You can fictionalize. So I think our tradition has suffered a setback since the days of Raj Kapoor, when it was all very Hindu, Raj Kapoor. And that's before the takeover by the Khans. And so the question is how to take it back. And I think to some extent it's happening very slowly. But there's also very blatant, the anti-Hindu depictions are becoming more blatant. I don't know if you guys feel that way. It's becoming more and more blatant, and I'm wondering if legally anything, why is the film board not able to control that, the censor people? Uh, I can see if something positive is being said about a faith, could be about our faith or could be about somebody else's faith, even if it's not true, even if it's exaggeration, you can't really complain because it's not against anybody. But when the moment it comes is against and anti, and it is not fact-based, then there ought to be some basis to intervene, and I don't see that happening enough in India. So I'm actually very interested in knowing what you folks think about all this. I mean, we have a very clear perspective. You don't want to make a comment, or they should tell us how do you feel about this, and what do you think it should be done about it? Do you share this concern? I'm sitting and I'm a consumer of Indian films. I'm not into the filmmaking business, and I find that it is very unfair. And lot of people, young people, actually believe it, and their ideas about society are shaped by what they saw, and they think it must be true.
Comment. I also think that the big US institutes like the Pulitzer Institutes, they have now begun to, they're beginning to fund um, ordinary citizens, right? So through PARI, which is People's Archive, it's called PARI, People's Archive Rural India. Now, everybody has a smartphone, and so they are encouraging certain groups whom they consider marginalized, and they're encouraging them into activism and having them document films. And the whole idea is to document these films and make archives and reintroduce them into the curriculum as history. And so there are two kinds of histories that are, narratives that are being spun. One is like the Romila Thapars, right? The colonized history we are getting into the textbooks. Another is these initiatives like People's Archive of Rural India, where certain narratives are spun, and these are then introduced into classrooms. So they have a good distribution channel into the classrooms, and these are sort of the voices of the downtrodden or the subaltern. So this is also something that we need to keep an eye on, and nobody is actually looking at how history is being written and history is being manufactured like this. So and this is a problem, even in the US and over here, and it's something that we are not even aware of.
Citizen journalism.
Citizen journalism, but it's not journalism, it's becoming history. Like this.
A lot of anthropological portrayals.
Yeah.
This happened to me, this going on here, there, like that.
So who's to say, that your history is valid, my history is also, so my oral tradition of what I think, or the oppression that I have faced, that becomes history. And there's a project called 1619 Project in the US where they're trying to change the history of the founding of America. This is probably the far left. So they're saying it's not 1776, it's 1619 is when America was founded. And it's got a lot of inaccuracies because it's this sort of citizen journalism. And so when in actual history, where something is in the footnote, that becomes the main story, and the main story is sort of put to the margins. Now, when many historians say this is not accurate, they hide behind the veil of, oh, this is just journalism, it's not really history. But in actuality, this 1619 project has entered the curriculum in over, in basically all the states in the US. So this is another way that the left is sort of penetrating into curriculum.
Just very briefly, I think the kind of narrative building that has happened, especially through Bollywood films, it's been happening since the time of Tamas, that's Govind Nihlani. So there are specific scenes in that show where the other side is shown in a certain way and the Hindu side is shown in a certain way. And you can see that the filmmaker is clearly taking sides. So this is an old thing, and Progressive Writers Association in India has been doing it since the 60s. I feel like, at least with the southern film industry, there is an attempt to sort of bring the Hindu elements back in cinematic parlance. And I feel people are taking to it. So we need to keep providing that ammunition. And I think we prime people's what people want. So the more you give, the more people would want that. So I think.
Do you feel that Netflix is biased?
OTT platforms are, again, infiltrated.
Are all of them biased, or which ones are not biased? No, but which are the pro-Hindu OTT? C5? Z5? That's it. Amazon,
As well.
Prime, Netflix. Disney Hotstar is biased. Must be biased. Yeah, they have to be biased. Because I know some people who've got their films into Amazon. Some well-known Hindu person has got his important book. But the price they're paying is that it goes, the script, at every stage it goes to the US creative filtering, censoring for change this, remove that. And this guy, because the money is big, for 8-part series, he's getting 35 crores to make this film. So he says, I'm making the changes. So, our people are also selling out. Money talks.
Like she mentioned, I think South sort of very immune to this because South has always been focused, especially Telugu. I think it's more, not Malayalam, mostly Telugu. Even Tamil, I think, is a little bit of a in there somewhere Dravidian movement. But Telugu is and Kannada probably have been little safer in that perspective that they were quite rooted in their content, and when something is rooted, then obviously there is that element of culture and Hindu positive Hindu portrayals. But I think that that's the problem. It's been regional in that sense that, for example, Kerala has a different problem, Tamil Nadu has a different problem, and of course North, mostly dominated by Bollywood, has its own style and has its own not flavors, has its own reasons for doing what they're doing, agendas and portrayals. So I think it's a more of a regional thing. I think there's no one solution to this. I think mostly as filmmakers, when we try to make films, we definitely come across this because then we are dealing with big studios, we're dealing with companies that have bought into that Fabian socialism or one of those leftist progressive elements. So I think the challenges for filmmakers is how do we cross that? Unless you're very strong yourself, you definitely have to fall into that.
Is there a kind of subtlety, subliminal type messaging, which will get through this barrier, where the public will get a message, but maybe the person who's a gatekeeper will not take it too seriously? Okay, so that's what I want to find out. Where do I get a good scriptwriter?
That's a big challenge.
So is there association? Is there a place where?
Yes, there are associations. There are many. of course, there are many across the country. Every industry has its own set of associations, not just one, many.
So script writers you can get like
Yes, yes.
I think script writers, the problem to find a good script writer is because they are suffering so much to just cross the survival mode. Until unless they cross the survival mode where they're recognized and they're paid well, then only they can intellectually stimulate and write something which they believe in. So right now, most of the writers, I don't say like 100%, but most of the people, like they survive. So they need to write something so that every day-to-day life is normal for them. So until unless they cross that, that's when they'll try to come up with something which they believe in. So obviously, so they have to, like you said, the studios will ask for changes, or the producers will ask for changes. They have to do it because they're working for them, not for themselves.
Is there a tradition or is there a market here for an author of a book to work with a scriptwriter and make a film on it? Is that being done?
I would say like 1%. 1%.
But are there successful examples where, because, in the US, so many films are made based on a book,
Yeah.
So I don't see that happening in India, but maybe I haven't seen enough movies. I can see fiction.
So obviously you watch films. So like how many films have you watched based on literature? So and the writers or the filmmakers, they have very limited knowledge on literature, but they become filmmakers because once they master the craft of what they want to say or anything, they're not bothered about to convey messages or anything. And the other question which you're talking about is like how do we put subtly the message into a film so that at least few people will understand. So for a person to subtly put an idea into the film and everything, he should not be scared to do it. And moreover, the biggest problem is they feel guilty about saying certain things which they should be proud of to say it. So the guilt factor should be gone first of all. So whatever culturally we consume, we become that. So right now, for example, like I don't want to get into like more deep into this. Like how many people are comfortable to keep in Telugu they say bottu to come out and thing, and how many people are okay to take pride in what they are or where they come from. So first, if it happens from there, then whatever they do, it reflects it. So yeah.
Which one?
So what happens is that people are a little more emboldened to attempt something like that again because there are takers for it. It's like, again, what you said, gradual building.
Actually, I want to.
Your name?
My name is Sai Krishna. I run a web channel called Nationalist Hub in Telugu. So basically, I want to tell you one thing, which is yesterday I spoke to some film fraternities in Telugu. So to invite them for this event, most of them are actually they're backing to come here because of the agenda which we speak, right? So they don't want to expose in front of many people. That's a first fear. How we should overcome this fear factor, and because now in Telangana we have political conflict between BJP and BRS. So in this conflict, that they don't want to show their face in front of so many people.
So why is Hindu friendly seen as BJP?
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. The problems I faced in the United States, I've lived 52 years, the problems I faced against Hinduism are way back before Modi or anything like that. There's no Modi around. These problems have been there for a long time. So I didn't ever, my defense of the dharma was nothing to do with Modi, nothing to do with BJP. But people somehow, before Modi, it was easier for me because I was seen as a weird guy, strange fellow. Why is he doing it? Now it's like, oh, he's because of Modi fellow. So it's become very, actually, since the rise of Modi, I have suffered a setback. I have suffered a setback because A, I've been branded by the opponents as a Modi, and the Modi people haven't accepted me as one of them because they're jealous. They want to take my ideas and spin it as their own. There is plagiarism, there's people copying. So I feel that now there are many more people spinning our ideas, like when the book Breaking India came out, that was 2011, that was before Modi. So there was a lot of, it was like a very, very original thing. Nobody's doing it, and why is this guy doing it, and what a great thing, because there's no right-wing, no Hindu government at that time, with the opposing side government. So it was a very big thing for us to do it, and we got a lot of credit for it, a lot of support for it. And there were not any people willing to come out and support us. The moment Modi got into power, hundreds of these out of the woodwork are suddenly becoming Hindus because now they're getting Modi support and all claiming to have done this thing that we had done. So actually, I suffered a setback when Modi came, honestly. Yeah. So my challenge is to share, you're sharing your problem, my challenge is how to be a author, researcher, content producer who is Hindu but nothing to do with BJP. Because I got nothing to gain from them, why should I be carrying their responsibility? Let them fight their battles. But there's no choice because I get thrust into it. And often the Sangh people come to me and tell me that you've defended the Sangh better than the Sangh people defend. Because the ideologicals, I'm not defending the institution, but I'm defending the concepts. So in a sense, they're getting something for free. They're just getting me to do a lot of this stuff work for them. They don't have to help me and support me. Sangh people actually are more aligned, more sincere and genuine, and not opportunistic. I feel that way. But BJP, I think, are too much into calculating the politics of the election. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Right. And they're calculating privately, they'll say something to you, saying, "Haan, bahut great kijiye, ye wo." Then the evening, when in front of cameras and others, they're all sort of very different, you know.
Nobody want to come in front of him. So how to overcome that? So how to address them actually?
Sir, what I believe is that history, while it is being projected through the movies, should not be distorted. It can be slightly adapted. And when it comes to the present day and contemporary life, it has to reflect that also. As we say in the case of poetry and literature, society's things should be reflected in literature. But here what happens is, our country, undivided India was partitioned into two on the basis of religion only. Here, even the Muslim communal parties, they are so aggressive that many Hindus are being threatened here. Whereas the case of the Hindu minorities in Pakistan is abject, totally abject, unenviable, isn't it? And here, and none of these things are being reflected. If you go to the newspaper every day, I am not blaming any community. Most of the criminals are from the Muslim community, if we go by the data in the newspapers. But it is not being truly projected in the movies. Why all these things?
Sir, according to me, in my small knowledge, movies are made for money. It's a commercial thing. The bottom line is commercial thing and saleability. I also worked for projects like this. A team from US came to me. They've asked me to write the history, misinterpreted or mistranslated or lost in translation kind of thing, from the time Lord Macaulay came, what happened, how the culture was disturbed. So I did my R&D. We had a team. It's 8-9 years back. I think it was Bharati or something, the concept. So we worked a lot on that, and we made short films. Like there is one program which Mr. Shekhar Kapoor used to, Pradhana Mantri, I think that program name. It was Pradhana Mantri. It was a very big, it was a successful way of telling history, not successful, very easy way of telling history. So we thought that we should use that device. But finally what happened was there was no funds, and no film actors were ready to do as a film. And So what I personally feel is the producer is the key here, not the writer, not the director, the producer. If the the market also. So there are many films, as I said, there are many films on these concepts like Adi Shankara, or many films came, but they didn't run well in theaters. Not only because they were not accepted by the public, but they were not made well in a commercial way. Maybe if they were made in a commercial way, only then films will work. Otherwise, what I feel is to take your agenda, internet or YouTube is the best way, is what I feel now. Instead of films, the mainstream cinema is having a lot of difficulties in handling these issues, these Hinduism issues especially, because it all deals with money.
Uh,
Maybe it's because they're still at nascent stage. The team, like the whole ecosystem that we got, right? But we need to work on the aesthetics. That they have sorted.
Yes, sir. Here, what I feel about that, of course, every movie is produced only for the, certainly for the sake of commercial gain, but commercial profit can also be obtained by projecting true values. For example, Shankarabharana movie is there. It is not a cheap, it doesn't have any cheap sensation. So cheap sensation and vulgarity are propagating falsehood should not form the bulwark of the movie. That is how I feel.
See, I feel that people, if you want to look at what will sell, people will pay money for entertainment.
Exactly.
Not for ideology, not for education.
Exactly.
People will, but in the process of being entertained, if you've sneaked in ideas and messages, then you are spreading those messages as part of, subtly through entertainment. That is, right? You have to first make it very gripping, and if they want to see some boy girl having some love affair, and then some guy comes in, some bad thing happens, and some whatever, all this kind of drama, if they want to see that, then that has to be the theme, so story, and through these characters and whatever they're doing and whatever is happening, messages can be put in, like what's the book he's opening, or what is the symbolism he's wearing. I mean, those are ways of conveying indirectly.
But I would like to tell you that it's not 1980 time, but you go back to 1970 time during the Sholay. You just see Sholay. And with that movie Sholay, the whole village had no electricity. But when the Nawaz used to go, the loudspeaker used to go. So how it is possible? How it is possible? Tell me. So these people were so smart, that leftist people. They used to sneakily put their theme, their what they want to convey. And it's not about only the Sholay 70 type, but it goes much beyond that. Dilip Kumar came, Dilip Kumar was Yusuf Khan. And Yusuf Khan was, I'm openly telling, he was a Pakistani spy. He was Pak military spy sitting in India. He was caught also with the transistor in his house. And with the help of Nehru, he was, like everything more.
Someone told me that, the famous Kabuliwala, Tagore's movie, Kabuliwala. So they made old movie, phenomenal, what great songs and all. I remember as a child, black and white movie and all. But they have done a remake of that, in which this girl, the nice girl, the whole story about her, moving story, now she's shown reading the Mass, which is not in the Tagore story. So now the thing is that, do you show it as is it a distortion? Is it not? It's like enhancement, and instead of her being shown sitting at home reading a book, now it's namaz. So that is a very subtle entry, insertion into the story. The story is what sells, but this is sort of put into it.
Actually,
Whenever he becomes the Vijay will become the secular. He will not believe in any of the Hindu stuff, Hindu ritual, religion. But as soon as he's not Vijay, he's all of a sudden very religious. 786 Billah will, save him by anything. Subtle things they used to put inside. And there was a movie, I forgot the name. In that movie, that girl was a Hindu girl, and in the hostel, she was sitting and doing the namaz. After the namaz was, heard by the God, Allah, and she got whatever she wanted. How this is possible if she is a Hindu girl? Hindu name, everything. How this is possible?
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, in Telugu, I mean, I want to tell you few things about Telugu film industry because this is more popular industry also, right? So, yeah, as she spoke, like, there are a lot of gems in Bollywood, okay? There are a lot of gems in Tollywood also. So we have a formula-based movies, basically. In 80s and 90s, we used to have unemployment-based movies, Akali Rajyam kind of stuff from Balachandar, the renowned director. So after that, we used to have movies on factionism. That's a formula. The formula sells in Telugu, that's it. So whatever the formula we build, no, I mean, if we have the market, if we see some potential market is there, no, so these producer will definitely look for those stories only. Now in Telugu, there is a market. I mean, actually, even producers and directors are also looking for stories in right perspective. Of course, yeah, right or left, that is other debate. In Telugu, so many assistant directors and co-directors have come to me and they asked for, like, Kashmir Files recently, that is hit, no? So I have been to Kashmir, so I have done a lot of extensive reports from Kashmir Valley. So that so many directors, I mean, almost 10 to 15 co-directors, assistant directors who want to become a director, they approached me and they asked so many stories because Kashmir Files is a hit. So after that, they want to make Kashmir stories. Now I want to ask you this is, there are a lot of producers who are inclined to nationalism. A.M. Ratnam Garu. A.M. Ratnam is a star producer. Now he is making a movie, Harihara Veeramallu, with Pavan Kalyan, a power star. In that movie, nobody knows that, but I spoke to him recently. He told me that Aurangzeb period, there are a lot of story. He inserted literally to make sure that the nationalism to prevail. So he is willing to make movie in right perspective. There are producers and directors, but the point is we are not connecting them to the right people like you or whatever. That system is not it is not formed.
So the reason I accepted this opportunity when they said is that we are a research house. So what you did wouldn't have to be done by you research. We do that part, and we want to be connected with filmmakers. We have a lot of research, truth, fact, which we can substantiate, both historical, what's happening, both what is contemporary. A lot of great things about our civilization. Also, how the knowledge of our civilization has been taken and turned into something else, and we have not been given credit. So there is a certain heroism also. It's like somebody has stolen the Kohinoor and you get it back. So in the sense of, instead of this physical Kohinoor, there is intellectual knowledge. There are great wisdoms of our tradition that have been taken back. So we would like to explore, if filmmakers are interested in working with us, where we have the facts and the work done and books written that could be turned into stories for films. We would like to do that. We would like to work with, Which one? Yes. I think there are a lot of people interested in some of the work we have done, some of the books I've written. They're very interested in working with us. But I think Bombay is one place with certain kind of talent and interest, but I think this is a different place. And there are a lot of Telugu filmmakers who are very talented. I mean, so we should not limit ourselves to Bombay necessarily. If we get a good partner here who wants to take one of our things and make a film, we could do that.
Not recorded, I can tell you this. Yesterday I spoke to Vijaya Prasad Garu. Vijaya Prasad Garu is it's okay. Don't. Vijaya Prasad Garu is a story writer. Yeah. I have to communicate this to you, sir. Actually, he is making a film on RSS. And he wrote a story. he's in the, I mean, pre-production work is going. Now he felt like if I come out and address some sort of event like this, so it may be problem. If you have to have a shooting in this area only, Hyderabad only, so you'll have a lot of troubles with the political parties. So how to handle this? This is the biggest worry, sir. Even in Telugu, there are a lot of left who are old. They're all youngsters, like yes, some movies are like that. So how to overcome? This is very, very important point. And yeah, we all have to address this.
And see, I'll tell you one thing. You are talking about very big thing, but I'm talking about very small thing. Since 2013, with my, not by a real way, but with the paid way, I used to tweet a lot of on Twitter about free Balochistan, because I wanted that Balochistan should be free because of the military position and things like that. So it's like that I came across lots of people and lots of, with the fake name itself. So, but this making RSS movie, it is going to come into the public openly. So that is going to be a problem. But what I used to do,
Make it a problem.
and once I got ISIS warning also that we don't give second warning, that my whole family got so scared. Please remove your name, please delete everything, delete. So I used to do these kind of things a lot. I mean, still I'm doing, see, as you said, Aurangzeb, when Aurangzeb used to go to great temples and things like that, that time 5-6 royal family, they used to go 1 or 2 days before, as soon as they can use that Aurangzeb is coming to, a whole city they are going to, wipe out, and one day they are going temple, they are going to destroy. So these people used to take the temple statues and they used to go to their family people, it's their, their grandkids and all. I have met 3-4 people hidingly. Somehow they connected me and then I came to know that what has happened. These things are not into the public. So I don't know, shall I put it into the public or not? I don't know. But I have met these kind of lot of people. And where they are hiding these kind of statues, I mean, this is all kept very secret.
So, who's in charge of my time tells me that we are 2 minutes over. We can all go to this event, 1 hour, 10 minutes away. We are going and all of you are invited to come along. So we have to conclude this. Thank you very much, but we can continue the conversation. And if somebody is interested in getting aligned with us as a filmmaker for our type of content, then you can approach us. You go to infinityfoundation.com and it says contact us, send a message saying you met at this event, and here is who I am, here's my background, this is what I like, and we'd love to talk. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.